If you guys aren't using an optimized tech stack when you're on the phones, you're leaving a bunch of money on the table. Today you're going to learn the exact programs I use to make over 100,000 cold calls and literally bring in millions of dollars of high ticket sales. Alright, so let's get into it. So what's a tech stack and why does it matter? A tech stack is simply the combination of programs that you use to perform a desired task. If you're a mechanic, it might be the type of tools you use, type of screwdrivers, wrenches, ratchets, what have you. And if you cook, it's going to be the appliance that you use in the kitchen, knives, forks, what have you, spoons, all that good stuff. If you're in sales, it's going to be the softwares that you use to make dials and get appointments. So this call, I'm going to focus on the exact tech stack I use to make over 100,000 cold calls, bring in a lot of business. This is going to be for someone who's just starting off, doesn't have a huge budget. Maybe if you're a 1099 employee, for instance, and you're paying for your own software, this video is for you. And now if you have an all-in-one sales CRM, Salesforce, HubSpot, you know what I'm talking about. They do a lot of this stuff integrated. But however, some of these actually have advantages over some of these softwares because these softwares have been designed to actually do just that one task, which means many times they actually are superior. I'm going to give a couple different pricing options as well. I know these things really add up. If you need to get another 2 or 3 paid programs every month, I know how that can easily be a couple $100 out the window every month. Right now, it is well worth it, but I will give a couple options and a couple more price conscious options as well so you can get going. All right, let's start off with the Autodialer. Autodialer, now what is that? Well, as the name might suggest, it is a software that automatically dials numbers for you. So let's just take the other option to where you can actually get a, let's say Skype, and you can make phone calls. It's referred to as a VoIP phone, voice over IP phone. That's great. That's if you're really on a budget, start with one of those. But if you do have a little bit of money, the first place you're going to want to start is with a Autodialer software. Why is that? So basically what you're able to do is you're able to get your VA or whoever it is or yourself, you can get a big list, upload it into the Autodialer, and then you can just hit go and it just goes down the list, dialing every number. So you don't actually even have to spend the time to manually type in the number or control C, control V, paste the numbers in. Just that alone is going to really increase your capacity. If you're US based and you're making calls in the US, I suggest to be a US company. Most of them are, to be honest, but you want to make sure that you're compliant with all the US based laws so you don't get a lawsuit. You're not calling after hours, all that type of stuff. Most of these softwares will actually have these things designed, the do not call list, the after hours blocks and all that type of stuff. Next is what I'd suggest you do is you want to get a multi-line dialer. Now let's explain that. With these auto dialers, you're going to have a big list, and it's just, if let's say you had a one-line dialer, it's just going to dial the first one. If there's pick up no answer, it'll just go to the next one, go to the next one, go to the next one. With a 2 or 3 line dialer, you actually have multiple lines doing that simultaneously, which means when you get a pickup, boom, it pops up green. You can hit on it, or it usually automatically just transfers you to it, and then you can just have the conversation. Meantime, the phone is making the other dials. It usually will stop doing the new dials when you get the pickup, right? And then immediately when you're done, you get a hang up, you get an appointment, you get a sale, whatever it is, you're able to actually mark it in their CRM, and then it just will continue with the list. Now, how many lines do you use? I used to use up to 4, and you really start to get diminishing returns after 3. Just to give an analogy, it's like, oh yeah, well, why not just make 100? Well, there's still just you on the phone, right? So if you were to just add in a huge amount of dials, it's just you on the phone. So really, I found after 3, it's really not worth it. There are some that do 4. I've heard of even some that do like 10-line, 12-line dialers. I don't think they're worth it. Just do a 3-line dialer and you're fine. There are many of these types of dialers out there. I was doing some research and it's just amazing how many pop up, and they all basically do the same thing, to be honest. They all basically are really similar pricing. Some are a little more premium, they come with more bells and whistles. Some of them are a little more basic, and then you can just add on the same bells and whistles. Look around, try them out. They all have free trials, essentially. They all have 7-day or 1 month free trials. Just try a couple out for a month, see what you like, and then just stick with one. They really don't make that big of a difference. Something that I did really like is when they have the feature called local presence. Local presence is when you're calling the number, it'll actually show up with a local area code when you're calling that person. And as you might imagine, if you get a call from a random number that's your area code, it's much more likely you're going to pick up than if it's just some one from across the country. So local presence is definitely worth it. A lot of these actually do have it. Some of them you pay extra for, but that's one of those things to where you're going to get a big bump, 20% bump or more, I'd say, pickups from doing that. So it's absolutely worth it. Most of them too also do have some sort of sales CRM software in there, and I didn't really find one which I liked more than the other. They're all pretty similar. What I find is really important as well is you actually want to have the ability to send emails directly from the dialer itself. Most of these do have it, so you're able to do a whatever it is, an API connection, right, to your email software. It can even be a free Gmail account. So it doesn't have to be anything spectacular. And then you're actually able to send the emails from that URL on the fly, which is really important because most of the time you can actually have those emails automatically upload already if your VA does that. But also you can just ask them for the email, send the email, type it in, hit send. The emails go out instantly. You can make sure that they got the email, make sure you didn't get a misspelling, it's not bouncing or what have you. So it's really great to have that feature. A lot of them too actually do have text message templates as well. My understanding is that you have to be even more strict with getting consent with text messages. Where the text messages are really helpful is when you're calling like your follow-ups. People that say that like didn't show up for your appointment, or people that you've already have expressed interest, that have already consented to be contacted. Those are great because you actually are able to send those out because they've already given their permission. So if you have a separate list, you can upload a separate template for this and then just hit call, they don't pick up, send a text message, call, pick up, they don't send a text message, and you're able to get some really serious velocity. All right, so my first recommendation is Mojo Dialer. Kind of an OG, but it's for a good reason. It works really well. Definitely worth checking out. The pricing's really competitive. They're basically all like $100 a month for a single line, and then they're all like $130 to $170 for a triple line dialer. And I said that before, it doesn't make too big of a difference. And a lot of these things are for wholesaling and real estate, which I never worked in real estate, so I don't have any experience with this. But obviously, if you are working in real estate, check it out, see what you got. So Mojo is a try and true method. Give it a try. I think you'll be fine with this one. The one I used for a long time and actually totally crushed it was this Prospect Boss. The website was a little slow being loaded. It made me kind of worried that maybe they're not in business anymore. But same thing. It's very similar. This is one I'd suggest trying out as well. They do have a free 7-day trial. And basically very similar as well. CRM dialer, ring list, all these different packages for real estate and things like this. But like I said, when you Google auto dialers, there's like 50 of them. It just doesn't make that big of a difference. Just find one you like, stay with it, and then just move on, get more calls in. That's really where you make the money. It's just a tool. Sure, there's different types of shovels out there. I'm sure one shovel's better than the other. It's more ergonomically designed, better materials, but what it really comes down to is it's still a shovel. It's just a tool. It's the person using it, and that's definitely how it is with these dialers. Next, sending out your emails. Now, as I just said, if you're using one of these auto dialers, these are going to have emails integrated, so you actually don't have to worry about it. You can put templates in, then send them out directly from it. If you're not using that, all you really need to do is just your good old-fashioned Google templates. All right, I don't need to explain what a Google template is to you guys, but definitely when you're on the calls and you gotta be quick, right? Have the things templated, have your initial cold outreach email templated, your common one, so you can just put in their email, send the template, boom, go, and then they can get it on the fly and you can confirm it. And best thing too is that is free or included with your auto dialer. Any of you that have been doing many cold calls know how important it is to be extremely quick when you're actually booking these calls, which means that having a calendar software to where you're actually able to see all the time zones, have it opened up, I find is really valuable, which is why I've always been willing to pay for these calendar softwares. And then they actually do send automatic emails and all that types of things. It's just way faster, especially if you're booking 3, 4, or 5 appointments a day. It makes a difference to not have to spend 5-10 minutes messing around to get the calendar sent out every time. This one definitely can be done for free through Google Calendar or whatever. You get their email, send it out manually, set up all the reminders and things like this. But what I would suggest doing is using a paid one. If you guys are looking for a budget pick, and this is actually one which I wish I had seen sooner, I would suggest this TidyCal from AppSumo. It has basically all the same functions as Calendly, and you can see even the interface is very similarly designed. What's really nice about it is it's a one-time purchase of $39, and Calendly is $12 a month, I believe. Within 3 months, you're already saving money, so it's kind of a no-brainer. I'd say just use TidyCalendar, and if you really want some more features from Calendly, then you can upgrade. All you really need from a Calendly software, in my opinion, is essentially a view like this to where you're able to set the time zone to whatever it is, and then you're able to say the date and the time zone very quickly, and to where it's actually integrating with your other calendar, Google Calendar, whatever, so it's able to cross-check for availabilities. You're able to set the times and things like this. That's all you really need, and they all do that. So just, for instance, be like, okay, look, I'm free Wednesday the 14th at 10 a.m. Does that work for you? Yes, good, booked. And then, of course, you're able to set up the reminders and things like this, which is really nice. You can put the name, email, get all the information that's relevant for you, and then you can, of course, send the link out. I definitely just would recommend one of these. Right? It's worth mentioning as well that most of these auto dialers do have some sort of a calendar function to where you can book appointments. But to be honest, I've never really liked them, so I've always had the Calendly option. But as always, you're looking to save money. You could just find one dialer that does it all, and then just stick with that. Okay, last part here, scripts. Well, I do have another video on this. I'll link to it, essentially how to use scripts, how to set it up and things like this. But essentially what I suggest doing is just using Google Docs. Good old-fashioned Google Docs gets you a long way. It's free. You have your script open as you're talking on one side. If you have two screens, you'll be able to have the auto dialer on the other side. If you need to do a split screen on one screen, I do have a video on that, how to set that up. Also worth mentioning as well that like with the calendar, a lot of these auto dialers do have some sort of a script set up to where actually the scripts will pop up when you get a pickup. I've never really used it, but you definitely can. They're not bad. So same thing, you just play around with it, see what you like, and just pick one that you like and stick with it. But long story short, in summary, what that means is all you really need to do to cold call is have one software being a legit auto dialer, okay? Because they come with the emails, they come with the calendar, they come with the script setup. It's all in one, right? Which is what they want. This is how they designed it. Now, if you do want a little bit more functionality, you want it to work a little bit better, and that's when I'd say start getting some of the other ones. So I hope that was helpful, guys. That's it for today. And if it was, please subscribe, drop a comment if you have any questions. I do take a lot of time out of my day to make these videos for you guys, so please show me some love, all right? And if you are an entrepreneur who's struggling due to an underperforming or non-existent sales process, please book a call with me and I'll get you back on track.